Yeah, Gurudev, and thank you for joining us today. Today we have with us an art of living expert and an officer of the Vedic Dharma Sansthan. Today we are going to discuss why so many art of living courses, programs, poojas and homas have a fee or a donation or a sankalpa associated with it. So let's begin. So why do pujas, homas and courses in art of living have a donation or fee? Yes, Jay Gurudev. Every sacred act requires both intention and energy exchange. A puja or homa is not just a ritual, it is a transmission of subtle vibration. Similarly, an art of living program is a deep spiritual process when we contribute through a donation or sankalpa. It aligns our energy with the gratitude. It is not a price tag but a conscious offering that adds sanctity to the ritual. Now, without this, people may treat it casually. A fee or donation ensures that seekers approach with sincerity, valuing the process and honoring the tradition. Now, why is the concept of dakshina so important in Vedic tradition? In Vedic culture, Dakshina is seen as a completion of knowledge or ritual. When a teacher imparts wisdom or a priest performs a sacred rite, the seeker offers Dakshina as an act of gratitude. This is not just financial, it represents respect and humility. By giving Dakshina, the student or devotee anchors the learning within themselves. It transforms the act into a sacred exchange. Without Dakshina, the cycle remains incomplete. It is like inhaling without exhaling. The ritual or a course becomes a whole only when there is mutual giving and receiving. Now, but why can't everything be free since spirituality is universal? Spirituality indeed is universal and belongs to all, yet the expression of spirituality in the form of courses, pujas, or homas requires human effort, time, and material resources. Teachers, pundits, and priests dedicate their lives to service. If everything were free, how would they sustain themselves? The rice, ghee, and samidas for a homa or the logistics for a course all have costs. By contributing, devotees not only support these efforts but also ensure continuity of the tradition. Free things are often undervalued. Contributions remind seekers of the sacred seriousness of their participation. Now, how does paying increase the value of learning or ritual? When we pay for something, we give it weight in our mind. Think about buying a book. If it is gifted, you may keep it aside. If you have paid, you read it carefully. Similarly, when you pay dakshina for a homa or contribute to a course, you naturally value the time and wisdom you receive. This seriousness helps the learning to sink deeper. Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankarji often says, what you value values you back. When we invest energy into learning, the knowledge doesn't just pass by, it gets ingrained into our consciousness. Now, how do contributions sustain the teachers, priests, and pundits? Teachers, priests, and pundits dedicate their lives to guiding seekers. They do not hold a 9 to 5 jobs. Their full time commitment is to share knowledge, conduct rituals, and serve communities. For this, they too need basic sustenance, food, clothing, education for children, and healthcare. The donations and fees go towards supporting their livelihood. This ensures that they can continue serving without financial worry. Just as we respect a doctor or teacher in the world with payment, we also honor spiritual guides with dakshina. It dignifies their role and allows them to focus on their sacred duties wholeheartedly. Now, how do these donations maintain the sanctity of rituals? Sanctity is upheld when the seeker's mind is fully present. If rituals were seen as free services, many might treat them as casual or transactional. A donation or sankalpa creates an intentional mindset. I am consciously offering something for this divine act. This transforms the puja or homa into a heartfelt process rather than a routine activity. Moreover, when materials are procured with the care and priests are respectfully compensated, the entire ritual remains pure and dignified. Sanctity lies not only in chanting mantras but also in the spirit of exchange and mutual respect. Now, why do we say energy exchange is essential in spirituality? Every action in the universe follows a law of exchange. When we breathe, we take oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Similarly, in spiritual acts, we receive blessings, knowledge, or purification. To balance this, we give back in the form of dakshina, seva, or donation. This flow of energy keeps the cycle complete. Without contribution, the seeker only receives and does not give, creating imbalance. Energy exchange is not about money alone, it is about gratitude, responsibility, and acknowledging the effort behind the spiritual experience. Why have so many trusts been created in art of living? The art of living has grown into a global movement offering over 60 plus programs, countless poojas and homas to manage the finances responsibly and transparently. Multiple trusts have been established. Each trust ensures that teachers, priests, and staff are supported, materials are procured ethically, and large scale events are well organized. This structure prevents misuse and builds accountability. Donors and participants can be assured that their contributions are directed for their intended purpose. It is a system designed to safeguard the sanctity of both knowledge dissemination and ritual practices. Now, does dakshina benefit the giver spiritually? Absolutely. The act of giving opens the heart. When we offer dakshina, it dissolves greed, fosters gratitude, and aligns us with abundance spiritually. It is said that offerings made during sacred acts multiply manifold in return, sometimes as blessings, sometimes as inner peace, and sometimes as opportunities. More importantly, it cultivates humility. Instead of approaching knowledge or divine rituals with entitlement, we come with surrender. This mindset itself is transformative. By giving, we create space within ourselves to receive higher wisdom and grace more deeply. Now, how do you respond to critics who say spirituality is becoming commercial? It's important to differentiate between commercialization and sustainability. Commercialization means profit driven motives, sustainability means supporting a living ecosystem of teachers, priests, materials, and institutions. The art of living and Vedic Dharma Sansthan function on the latter principle. Contributions are not to enrich individuals but to sustain the work and reach millions. Anyone who has attended a course or witnessed a puja knows the sincerity and purity with which they are conducted. If it were purely commercial, the essence would be lost indeed, and instead instead fees and donations ensure the tradition flourishes responsibly. Now, why can't spirituality be sustained only through voluntary donations without fixed fees? The voluntary donations are noble, but they often lack consistency. A course or Homa requires planning, teachers travel, materials are arranged, spaces are prepared. If it depended only on spontaneous giving, sometimes it may not meet expenses and rituals could be compromised. Fixed contributions create stability and accountability, ensuring everyone involved is taken care of. Beyond that, having a fixed sankalpa amount also ensures that the seeker makes a deliberate mindful offering. This structure prevents undervaluing spiritual work while allowing voluntary donations over and above fees to further support charitable activities. Now, how do fees or donations protect the dignity of teachers and priests? In ancient times, kings and communities supported rishis and priests. Today, the system has shifted. If teachers or priests constantly had to request charity, it would diminish the dignity of their role. Fixed contributions ensure they are respected for their time, skill, and knowledge. It establishes their service as valued, not taken for granted. Spiritual guides should be honored, not left struggling to meet basic needs. By contributing, seekers uphold the dignity of the Guru Shishya relationship, ensuring priests and teachers can dedicate themselves fully without distraction or dependency on inconsistent clarity. Now, isn't wisdom supposed to be priceless? Why attach money at all? Wisdom is indeed priceless. It cannot be bought or sold. The fees or donations are not for the wisdom itself, but for the environment, resources, and facilitators that make the transmission possible. Just as sunlight is free, but you pay for the solar panels that capture it. Wisdom is free but requires infrastructure to reach you. The dakshina or fee is simply a way to honor and sustain the channel, not to purchase the wisdom. Priceless things become sacred when we treat them with value, not when they are casually consumed without responsibility. Now, how are the collected donations utilized in Art of Living? The donations and fees flow into trusts that maintain transparency and accountability. They cover travel, accommodation, and sustenance for teachers and priests. They procure pure ghee, samidas, flowers, and other ritual materials. They also support scholarships for those who cannot afford contributions and fund service projects, schools, rural development, and river rejuvenation. A portion also sustains the infrastructure, ashrams, temples, and training centers. It is a circular economy of service. Seekers contribute, and their contribution nurtures both their own growth and the well being of society at large. Nothing goes to waste, everything supports seva. Now, why is sankalpa linked to a specific amount? Sankalpa means resolve. When you declare a sankalpa with a specific amount, it becomes tangible. Abstract intentions often fade, but quantified commitments anchor the energy. The set amount ensures fairness. Everyone knows what is expected. It also creates seriousness. When a devotee offers a defined sankalpa, they are fully present, knowing they have invested not just emotion but resources. Spiritually, this act magnifies the potency of the ritual. The priest chant your name, gotra, and intention during the ritual, and your offering seals it energetically, ensuring that the sankalpa is honored in fullness. Now, what happens if someone truly cannot afford a fee? The art of living and Vedic themselves are never turned away a sincere seeker. Gurudev has always emphasized accessibility for those in genuine need. Scholarships, partial waivers, or seva exchange are possible. What matters is sincerity, not money. However, when people can afford but choose not to contribute, the sanctity is disturbed. For those who cannot, the system ensures inclusivity while balancing fairness. This is why donations from others often subsidize those in need. In this way, every seeker is cared for, while the teachers and priests are not left unsupported. Do priests and teachers view fees as business? Absolutely not. Priests and teachers see their role as sacred service. For them, conducting a homa or teaching Sudarshan Kriya is an offering to society and to the divine. The contribution is not their profit, it is their sustenance. They live simply, often far below the earnings they could generate in the corporate world. What seekers contribute allows them to dedicate their lives fully to service without distraction. The word business implies commercial intent, while here the intent is dharma and seva. Money is simply the means or balance, not the purpose. Now, how does dakshina influence the psyche of the seeker? When a seeker gives dakshina, it shifts their mindset from consumer to participant. Without giving, one may unconsciously slip into entitlement. I am here to receive. With the giving, one feels responsible. I am part of this sacred act. This mental shift deepens receptivity. Psychologically, people value what they pay for. It becomes important, remembered, and applied. Free things are often taken lightly. Dakshina ensures a seeker treasures a knowledge or ritual, contemplates it, and integrates it into their life. It's not transactional but transformational, guiding the seeker inward. Now, why are rituals and courses sometimes perceived as expensive? Often seekers compare spiritual rituals with ordinary services, but one must understand every mantra, every offering requires purity, precision, and trained expertise. Priests and teachers undergo years of training just like doctors or engineers. In addition, rituals use specific herbs, ghee, and materials that must be of high quality. Courses involve venue, logistics, and teacher sustenance. When compared with worldly expenses like dining out or entertainment, the contributions are modest, yet the inner value of peace, healing, transformation is priceless. The perception of expensive often comes from lack of awareness of these deeper aspects. Now, how do rituals sustain themselves across generations with this model? By having structured contributions, we ensure continuity. Priests are trained, their families supported, rituals performed with uncompromising purity. Teachers can dedicate their lives without worrying about livelihood. The system nurtures younger generations to carry forward the tradition. When seekers contribute, they are not just supporting a single event, they are preserving a lineage. This ensures that future generations will also have access to authentic poojas, homas, and wisdom traditions. In this way, the model is not only sustainable but self renewing, keeping the sanctity alive across centuries with integrity and strength. Now, how do rituals like homas differ when done with and without sankalpa? A homa without sankalpa is like fire without fuel. It gives some warmth but not sustained benefit. When a seeker makes a sankalpa with their contribution, the ritual carries their personal intention. The priest chants their name, gotra, and wish, channeling energy specifically for them. This personalization is powerful. Without sankalpa, the ritual is general and collective. Both have value, but sankalpa brings depth, ownership, and greater receptivity. The act of offering also intensifies focus in the seeker's heart, making the blessings felt in tangible ways in life situations. Now, why do teachers in Art of Living not take salaries directly but through trust? This is to ensure transparency and sanctity. If teachers collected fees directly, it could create misunderstandings. By routing contributions through trust funds are managed with accountability, supporting not only the teacher but also community projects, scholarships, and ashram maintenance. Teachers receive sustenance, not profits. This structure maintains purity. Seekers know their contribution is not for personal gain but for sustaining the movement and seva initiatives worldwide. It also prevents misuse and establishes the principle that teaching is service while the trust ensures everyone involved is cared for responsibly. Now, do the contributions also cover social service projects? Yes, absolutely. Art of Living is not just courses and pujas, it's a service movement. Contributions help run free schools for underprivileged children, women empowerment projects, skill development for youth, river rejuvenation, tree plantation, trauma relief programs, and more. When seekers pay for a course or puja, a portion supports these initiatives. Thus, their personal growth simultaneously supports collective upliftment. This dual impact creates a ripple of positivity. One act of offering brings inner peace to the seeker and external benefits to society at large. It becomes both personal and universal seva. Now, how does financial contribution relate to discipline in the seeker? Contributions create a sense of responsibility. When a seeker invests resources, they are more disciplined in attending sessions, practicing techniques, and valuing the guidance. This discipline strengthens the benefits. Without contribution, commitment often weakens. People skip practices or treat rituals as casual. Financial involvement creates accountability to oneself. I have invested, so I must apply. This subtle discipline accelerates transformation. It's not about money itself, but the seriousness that comes when you stake something of value. Just as gym memberships push people to exercise, contributions push seekers towards spiritual consistency. Now, how does Gurudev view money in spirituality? Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji often says money is a means, not a goal. In spirituality, money should neither be shunned nor worshipped. It should be used responsibly for growth and service. Contributions are not seen as commercial but as expressions of gratitude. Gurudev emphasizes that money is energy, it should flow. Hoarding creates stagnation, offering creates abundance. When we use money to support knowledge, rituals, and seva, it becomes sanctified wealth. It no longer binds us but liberates us, turning material energy into spiritual progress for both giver and receiver. Now, why is it said that what is free is often not valued? Human psychology naturally undervalues what comes without effort or cost. Think of free flyers at events, most end up in dustbins. But a book purchased with hard earned money is preserved and read. Similarly, when rituals or courses are free, many attend casually without commitment. When a fee is involved, seriousness increases. This is not about commercialization but about respect. The contribution signals to the mind this is important. It creates involvement, attentiveness, and deeper absorption. The fees or sankalpa are not barriers but catalysts to help seekers truly value spiritual processes. Now, how do priests benefit spiritually from receiving dakshina? Yes, Jagur, the priests, by receiving dakshina, complete their service cycle. They give mantras, energy, and blessings. In return, when devotees offer dakshina, the priest does not accumulate karma because the act is balanced. Spiritually, it allows priests to continue their dharmic path without attachment. Their sustenance becomes sacred because it is earned to divine service. Receiving with humility and gratitude purifies both giver and receiver. For priests, dakshina is not greed, it is livelihood sanctified by seva. This tradition ensures they remain connected to Dharma while sustaining their families and continuing Vedic practices. Are there examples in scriptures of Dakshina being essential? Yes, many in the Mahabharata when Guru Drona taught archery to Arjuna. Ekalavya gave his thumb as Guru Dakshina. In the Ramayana sage, Vishwamitra asked Rama to protect his yajna. As a part of their learnings in Vedas, it is prescribed that every yajna concludes with Dakshina to the Rishi. This shows dakshina is not optional but integral. While earlier it could be cows, grains, or service, today it takes a form of money or materials. The essence remains completing the cycle of giving and receiving, honoring the sacred transmission. Now, how do contributions ensure quality in rituals and courses? Quality requires resources. A proper homa needs pure cow ghee, specific herbs, dry wood, flowers, and well trained priests. Courses need experienced teachers, proper spaces, and logistics. Contributions ensure nothing is compromised. Without them, one might cut corners using impure materials or rushing rituals. With the proper support, rituals maintain sanctity and courses retain depth. Quality is not luxury but respect for the divine. Seekers feel the difference when everything is done authentically. Contributions thus uphold not just continuity but also excellence in both Vedic rituals and spiritual programs. Now, how does the system prevent exploitation of teachers and priests? Without a structured contribution model, teachers and priests could be exploited, constantly serving without fair support. Fixed fees and dakshina safeguard their dignity, ensuring they are compensated adequately for their time, effort, and knowledge. It removes the need for awkward negotiations or dependence on arbitrary charity. This allows them to focus fully on their spiritual role. Transparency through trust ensures fairness. No one is overcharging or undersupported. Instead of exploitation, it becomes a balanced ecosystem where seekers, priests, and teachers all flourish in harmony. Now, why is the concept of sankalpa so central in Vedic rituals? Jayagurudev, Sankalpa is not just a declaration, it is a commitment of the heart and mind. When devotees take a Sankalpa, they align their intention with divine energy. Offering dakshina or donation during Sankalpa makes the prayer tangible, giving it direction. It transforms a ritual from being casual to purposeful. The act of investing energy, time, and resources creates a sacred seriousness. This ensures that the ritual is performed with utmost sincerity by both priest and devotees, making the blessings manifold and the experience more profound. Now, how does Sankalpa connect with the modern psychology? Modern science talks about the power of intention setting. A clear goal increases focus and manifestation. Sankalpa works similarly. When a devotee declares, "For this purpose, I perform this puja," their mind and emotions align with the ritual. Offering dakshina makes the intention more authentic because sacrifice amplifies seriousness. Just as in psychology, when people pay for therapy or education, they commit better. Similarly, the sankalpa in Vedic practice is a powerful inner contract backed by action and offering, ensuring the blessings are received deeply. Now, some argue rituals should be free. How do you respond? While the spiritual essence is priceless, the practical world functions on resources. Temples need maintenance, priests need sustenance, flowers and ghee cost money. If rituals were entirely free, there would be chaos, lack of responsibility, and undervaluation. Free things are often taken for granted. Donations maintain dignity and seriousness. Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankarji emphasizes that when people contribute, however small, they become part of a larger sacred economy that sustains both the tradition and service. It is not about buying blessings, but honoring the process and those who make it possible. Now, how do dakshina and gratitude connect? Jayagurudev, Dakshina is not a fee, it is gratitude in a material form. When we receive a wisdom, blessings, or rituals, we cannot repay in words alone. Dakshina acknowledges the divine channel through which grace flows, the priest, the guru, and the tradition. In the old days, kings gave land or cattle as dakshina. Today, it may be financial support. Without this expression of gratitude, the cycle of giving and receiving breaks. Gratitude expressed tangibly keeps the sacred bond alive, sustains the giver, and enriches the receiver spiritually and materially. Now, what role do trusts play in this? Vedic Dham Sansthan and Art of Living Trust ensure transparency, fairness, and sustainability. The donations collected for pujas, homas, and courses are not hoarded but distributed wisely to maintain temples, support priests, conduct rituals, and train teachers, and serve society. Trusts act as guardians of integrity, ensuring that money does not corrupt but uplifts. They also provide accountability as the large scale rituals and courses involve hundreds of people and logistics. By having proper trust, the sanctity of offerings is protected and funds are used for spiritual and humanitarian purposes. Does a financial contribution enhance inner discipline? Absolutely. Money is a form of energy. When you dedicate it for a higher cause, you discipline your desires instead of spending on material indulgence. You channel it towards spiritual growth. This trains the mind to prioritize the sacred. The very act of donation builds discipline. As one consciously chooses to invest in rituals, sadhana, and seva, over time this discipline spreads to other areas, relationships, work, health, creating balance. Thus, financial offering is not just support for rituals but a yogic practice of detachment and right action. Now, how are teachers of Art of Living supported? Art of Living teachers dedicate their lives to spreading knowledge. They travel, organize programs, and spend countless hours guiding participants. While their work is spiritual, their life needs practical support, food, shelter, travel. The course fees ensure teachers are sustained with dignity. Without it, they would be forced to divert energy to survive financially. By supporting them, participants allow teachers to focus entirely on sharing knowledge. It's a sacred exchange where teachers give wisdom and students give material support, maintaining balance and continuity of the tradition. Now, why are rituals often misunderstood as commercial? Because people confuse donation with transaction. In commerce, you buy a product for consumption. In spirituality, you offer with reverence to participate in divine grace. Rituals are not sold, they are facilitated. The dakshina is not for buying blessings, but for honoring the tradition and supporting those who conduct it. Misunderstandings arise when devotion is missing. Gurudev often clarifies money is simply energy when offered consciously. It transforms into punya or merit. The misunderstanding dissolves once people experience the sincerity and depth of these rituals personally. Now, how do donations create a shared responsibility? When devotees contribute, they feel ownership of the ritual. It is no longer the priest's puja, but our puja. This shared responsibility deepens involvement, devotion, and accountability. Collective donations also distribute the financial burden. In large scale homas, hundreds contribute, making the ritual possible for all. Shared responsibility prevents exploitation and builds community. In Art of Living, this collective sankalpa spirit creates a sense of belonging where everyone feels they have invested and hence receive grace more deeply. It becomes a collective upliftment, not an isolated act. Now, what is Gurudev's vision behind sustaining rituals through donations? Jai Gurudev, His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankarji emphasizes inclusivity. Donations ensure that no single person carries the entire burden of sustaining rituals or courses. Instead, everyone contributes according to their capacity. This democratizes spirituality. Rich or poor, all can participate. Even a small offering has immense value if given with devotion. Gurudev has created trust and systems so that priests, teachers, and seekers are supported while maintaining dignity. His vision is that ancient traditions flourish, teachers thrive, and seekers grow, all through collective contributions rooted in love and devotion. Now, why do we say Dakshina purifies the giver? Because giving loosens attachment. Money often binds people through greed or insecurity. When one consciously offers it in Dakshina, the grip weakens and the heart expands. In Vedic tradition, charity or dan and dakshina are acts of purification. The act of parting with something valuable humbles the ego and connects the giver to abundance. It's not about how much is given, but with what sincerity. Even a small offering, when made with devotion, purifies the giver's mind and aligns them with divine flow and creates openness for receiving blessings. Now, how are rituals sustained without commercialization? By keeping intention pure in the Vedic Sanskrit, donations are never seen as a price tag, but as an offering. The priests do not demand fixed amounts, they encourage devotees to contribute as per their faith and capacity. This ensures that rituals are never reduced to business transactions. What sustains the sanctity is the bhava or the devotion. Even when a suggested donation exists, it is to cover practical costs. The focus remains on devotion and community service, not profit. This delicate balance preserves authenticity while ensuring sustainability. Now, why does a paid course or puja feel more valuable than a free one? Because human psychology respects what is earned. When something is free, people may attend casually, skip sessions, or not engage deeply. But when they contribute financially, they feel invested, their attention sharpens, commitment deepens, and they extract more value. Gurudev often says, what you value, you preserve. Paying for a course or puja does not buy wisdom, it builds seriousness. That seriousness helps the knowledge sink in and stay for life. So, fees or donations are tools to make people value their own growth more deeply. Now, do priests also see Dakshina as spiritual? Absolutely, priests never see Dakshina as mere payment for them. It is prasad, a sacred energy given by devotees. They receive it with mantras of gratitude, blessing the giver. In fact, priests often redistribute a part of their Dakshina in charity, continuing the cycle. By receiving respectfully, they allow devotees to express gratitude. This mutual exchange elevates both giver and receiver. For priests, dakshina is also livelihood, but it is dignified because it comes as part of a sacred act, not a commercial transaction. What happens when rituals are undervalued? When rituals are undervalued, they lose depth. If performed casually or without commitment, the sacred energy does not fully manifest. Priests feel unappreciated, devotees remain disengaged, and the ritual becomes mechanical. Undervaluing also leads to neglect of traditions, temples, and teachers. In contrast, when devotees contribute generously, the energy flows with respect and gratitude. The ritual gains power, the priests perform with devotion, and the devotees receive blessings wholeheartedly. Valuation through devotion, sincerity, and dakshina ensures the ritual remains vibrant and meaningful for generations. Now, how are large scale homas like Navratri managed financially? Large scale homas involve enormous logistics, priests, ghee, samagri, pandals, seating, sound systems, security, food for participants. Without collective donations, such grand celebrations would be impossible. Thousands contribute according to their capacity. Some sponsor entire homas, others offer a small sankalpa. Together, it sustains. Now, how do donations prevent rituals from becoming a mechanical? When a devotee invests financially in a ritual, they naturally engage with a greater seriousness. If a puja were free, like a Devi puja or a Rudra puja on Fridays and Mondays, many might attend casually without devotion or attention. But when there is dakshina, the devotee's mind values the experience and participates wholeheartedly. The priest who performs with greater commitment and knowing the offering is respected. This mutual responsibility ensures ritual is not mechanical but heartfelt. The energy of respect, devotion, and gratitude deepens the sanctity of the puja, transforming it into a living, vibrant experience rather than a hollow formality. Even Guru Puja, we see people doing Guru Puja phase 1 and phase 2. And after that, they try to perform puja sometimes very casually. If every Guru Puja, when done maybe in a Vishalakshi Mandap or even at a home, is done with that sankalpa, with some payment, with a fees, the sanctity of the Guru Puja increases. Now, why is valuing knowledge through dakshina important? Jagadaviya's knowledge is subtle. If received casually, it slips away. When people offer dakshina, they create a bond of seriousness and gratitude with the teacher. This ensures the knowledge is respected and remembered. For example, students who invest in a course often apply it diligently, whereas free workshops are sometimes ignored. Vedic tradition has always upheld a Guru Dakshina to honor the teacher and make learning sacred. By offering something valuable in return, seekers ensure the wisdom becomes deeply ingrained in their consciousness and is lived and not just heard. Now, can spiritual knowledge ever be prized? True knowledge is beyond price, it is infinite. But the system of fees or donations is not about putting a price tag on wisdom, it's about maintaining the ecosystem that carries knowledge forward. Think of a lamp, the flame is eternal, but oil is needed to keep it burning. Similarly, spiritual knowledge is eternal, but to deliver it to seekers requires practical support, teachers, venues, travel, materials. The contribution sustains the oil for the flame, ensuring the light spreads without interruption while keeping the sacredness intact. Now, how do rituals and courses balance inclusivity with cost? At Art of Living and Vedic Sansthan, donations are suggested, not forced. People contribute according to capacity. Many programs and pujas allow sponsorship in groups, making it affordable. Scholarships are offered where needed. This ensures no seeker is deprived of grace. Inclusivity is preserved while maintaining respect for the ritual. Gurudev often reminds us even a handful of rice offered with devotion is as valuable as gold. What matters is sincerity, not the amount. This balance allows rituals to thrive while welcoming all devotees. Now, what happens when offerings are absent? If offerings are absent, two challenges arise. First, the sustainability of rituals weakens. Priests and teachers cannot dedicate themselves fully as they must find alternate means to survive. Second, devotees may undervalue the practice when nothing is offered. Rituals risk becoming neglected or casual. The cycle of gratitude is broken historically. When communities fail to support temples, many traditions decline. Offerings ensure continuity, respect, and devotion. Without them, rituals lose both their spiritual vitality and their ability to sustain the people who preserve them. Now, how does Dakshina preserve priestly dignity? The priests are custodians of sacred traditions. If they are forced to beg or struggle for survival, their dignity and focus are compromised. Dakshina allows them to live with respect, knowing their services are honored. In ancient India, priests were supported by kings and communities. Today, devotees collectively play that role. When priests are taken care of, they dedicate themselves wholeheartedly to rituals. Dakshina is thus not charity but rightful recognition of their time, expertise, and role as channels of divine grace in society. Now, how do group sankalpas work financially? In large homas, many devotees join together, each making a sankalpa. Their individual contributions pool into a collective offering. This makes grand rituals possible without burdening any single family. It also deepens collective energy. Hundreds focusing intentions creates a powerful vibrations. Financially, group sankalpas make rituals affordable and accessible. Spiritually, they generate shared merit as everyone participates in the sacred act. This model reflects both Vedic wisdom and modern teamwork, coming together in devotion, sharing costs, and multiplying blessings for all involved. Now, why is respect for the priest time essential? A priest spends years memorizing mantras, learning rituals, and living a disciplined life. This dedication is their livelihood and service. When devotees respect their time with dakshina, the priest can focus fully on the ritual. Without it, the priest might be distracted by financial worries or undervalued, just as one would never ask a doctor or teacher to serve without sustenance. Priests to deserve respect for their time. Acknowledging this through offerings keeps the exchange balanced and the ritual free from exploitation or negligence. Now, how does giving deepen receiving? In spirituality, giving and receiving are intertwined. When you give with devotion, whether money, food, or service, you open your heart to receive grace. A closed fist cannot accept blessings, but an open palm can. Donations expand the devotee's heart, dissolving ego and creating humility. This inner state makes them receptive to divine blessings. Without giving, one may attend a ritual but miss the depth of its grace. Thus, the act of offering makes the receiving deeper, both emotionally and spiritually. Now, how does this apply in modern life? In daily life, we see the same principle. When someone pays for a gym membership, they attend regularly and get results. If the same gym were free, attendance would drop. Similarly, in education, paid courses are often valued more than free ones. Spirituality follows the same psychology. By contributing, devotees commit themselves. It builds seriousness, accountability, and discipline. The result is transformation. Free spirituality risks being ignored, but when supported with dakshina, it becomes a priority in life and yields a lasting impact. Now, why do even small offerings carry spiritual weight? In Vedic culture, it is the bhava, the feeling, that matters more than the amount. A handful of flowers, a spoon of ghee, or even a few rupees offered with devotion hold immense spiritual merit. Gurudev often reminds us that the divine looks at the heart, not the purse. When a devotee contributes sincerely, however little, it creates inner connection and gratitude. Even small offerings nurture humility and devotion, ensuring the ritual carries sanctity. Thus, offerings are not about wealth but about anchoring the heart in giving. Now, how do rituals supported by donations create community? Donations transform rituals into shared celebrations. When many devotees contribute, they feel collective ownership of the puja or homa. It becomes a yajna, not just a priest's duty. This shared sankalpa strengthens bonds in the community as everyone has invested devotion and resources. Collective giving breaks social barriers. Rich and poor sit together, chant together, and receive blessings equally. Financial offerings become instruments of unity, wavering and weaving people into one sacred fabric where the divine is at the center and community thrives in harmony. Now, why can free rituals sometimes dilute devotion? Human psychology values what is earned or given effort for. If rituals are offered without any sankalpa or dakshina, devotees may approach them casually as mere events. But when a person sacrifices something of value, be it time, money, or seva, the ritual takes root in their heart. Free rituals risk being attended with indifference, leading to superficial engagement. Dakshina brings commitment just as fasting before a festival deepens devotion. Making an offering before a ritual adds seriousness, ensuring the puja is absorbed deeply in the soul. Now, how does Dakshina support the priest's family? The priests dedicate their lives to serving the sacred, often at the cost of worldly ambitions. Their families too depend on the community's gratitude. Dakshina ensures that priestly households live with dignity, that children are educated, and basic needs are met. This stability allows the priest to serve wholeheartedly without worry. In ancient times, kings ensured this security. Today, devotees play that role. Supporting priest families is not just financial, it is spiritual gratitude expressed in action, preserving tradition across generations with respect and prayer. Now, how do donations ensure rituals remain pure? When priests are supported properly, they can focus on the sanctity of the ritual rather than seeking shortcuts for survival. Donations remove financial anxiety, ensuring rituals are performed with sincerity and precision. If there were no support, priests might be forced into hurried or mechanical practices. Properly given dakshina maintains purity. As both devotee and priest approach the ritual with respect, the exchange of gratitude keeps the environment sacred, free from exploitation, and aligned with Dharma, ensuring rituals continue in their highest form. Do donations create balance between material and spiritual life? Yes, donations are bridges between the material and the spiritual. By offering material wealth for sacred purposes, devotees transform money into merit. Instead of being trapped in greed, wealth becomes a tool for dharma. This balance prevents extremes, neither renouncing all material life nor being consumed by it. Devotees learn to see money as energy, useful when directed rightly. In this way, financial contributions harmonize worldly responsibilities with spiritual growth, teaching balance, detachment, and reverence for both realms of existence. Now, how do art of living courses mirror Vedic rituals in this regard? Just as pujas require dakshina, art of living courses involve feasts. Both reflect the principle of valuing what is received. When participants pay for a course, they show commitment and the knowledge gets ingrained. Teachers like priests dedicate their lives and need support. Course fees sustain them and ensure logistics are handled. Rituals and courses both operate in the same sacred economy of give and receive. Knowledge and blessings flow one way. Gratitude and support flow back. This reciprocity keeps both alive and thriving. Now, how do donations cultivate humility? Offering dakshina reminds devotees that blessings are not earned by effort alone, but received through grace. No amount of money can buy divine favor. Yet, giving something teaches humility. It reminds the devotee that they are dependent on the divine and the tradition that carries rituals. This act dissolves pride and creates surrender. Even wealthy devotees bow their head and offer with folded hands, realizing that before the divine all are equal. Donations thus become a spiritual exercise in humility and gratitude. Now, why do large scale homas need collective contributions? Grand rituals like Navgraha homas or Atirudra homas involve enormous logistics. Priests, ghee, samidha, flowers, food, and arrangements for thousands of devotees. One family alone cannot bear this. Collective contributions make it possible. Just as many drops form a river, many offerings create a powerful flow of devotion. The financial pooling mirrors the collective chanting of mantras, multiplying the effect. Everyone who contributes, however small, becomes part of the yajna. Collective support makes these massive rituals accessible and impactful for the entire community. Now, how do these practices ensure tradition continues for future generations? Sustaining rituals requires continuity. Priests must be trained, scriptures preserved, and traditions practiced regularly. Without donations, this chain weakens and future generations may lose touch. Offerings ensure priests' children see dignity in continuing the path. Temples remain vibrant and rituals thrive. Art of Wings is structured trust. Safeguard this safeguard this by channeling funds into training, research, and preservation. Thus, every offering today is not just for one ritual, but an investment in keeping Vedic wisdom alive for centuries, ensuring our children inherit this spiritual heritage. Now, how does making a financial offering change a devotee's mindset? Jagudev, when a devotee gives dakshina or a donation, their mindset shifts from passive receiving to active participation. It is no longer someone else's ritual, but my puja, my offering to the divine. This sense of ownership makes them more attentive during mantras, more present during arti, and more sincere in prayer. The act of giving awakens responsibility and devotion. The ritual becomes a personal spiritual journey rather than an external event. In this way, Offerings transform the devotee's inner state, ensuring deeper absorption of the ritual's blessings. Now, how do offerings strengthen the bond between devotee and priest? Offerings create a respectful relationship. When a devotee gives dakshina, they honor the priest's role as a sacred channel. The priest, in turn, feels supported and valued, serving wholeheartedly. This bond is not transactional, it is mutual respect. The devotee acknowledges you are guiding me to the divine, and the priest blesses. May your life be fulfilled. Offerings act as a bridge, turning the interaction into a sacred exchange. This mutual trust sustains rituals and ensures priests live with a dignity and strengthens a devotee's spiritual connection. Now, why is giving considered purifying? In Sanatana Dharma, giving is seen as a purifier of the ego. Money and possessions often bind the mind with attachment. When devotees willingly part with something valuable for a higher cause, they free themselves from greed and possessiveness. This purification creates lightness and joy. Scriptures say, Danam tapasya yajnasya pavanani manishanam. Giving penance and yajna purify the wise. Thus, offerings during pujas and courses are not losses but acts of cleansing, where the devotee grows lighter and more connected to divine energy. Now, how do course fees ensure teachers remain focused on service? Without financial support, teachers would be forced to divide their time between livelihood and teaching. Course fees allow them to dedicate themselves fully to guiding seekers. This sustenance frees their mind from survival worries and lets them serve selflessly. Just as priests are supported through dakshina, teachers are supported through course fees, far from being commercial. This system ensures sincerity and focus. When teachers are cared for, they can offer their best knowledge, energy, and compassion, enriching participants with authentic and powerful spiritual experiences. Now, why does sacrifice make rituals powerful? Sacrifice is the essence of yajna. When a devotee offers ghee into the fire, they are symbolically offering their desires. Similarly, when they give money or resources, it represents sacrifice of attachment. This transforms the ritual into a genuine act of surrender. Sacrifice adds power because it comes from the heart. When something valuable is let go for a higher cause, the divine response. Thus, the offering is not merely material but energetic, amplifying the blessings of the ritual manifold for the devotee and their family. Can free rituals sometimes create dependency? Yes, if everything is always free, devotees may develop a passive mentality expecting blessings without effort or offering. This dependency weakens spiritual strength. In contrast, when devotees make offerings, they take responsibility for their growth. They learn self reliance and discipline instead of waiting for others to provide. Spirituality is about empowerment, not dependency. Donations prevent complacency, ensuring devotees remain active contributors in their journey. By giving, they also experience joy and pride in supporting traditions rather than feeling entitled to receive without participation. Now, how do offerings uplift society beyond the ritual itself? Donations and course fees don't just sustain rituals, they ripple outwards. Priests and teachers use their earnings to support families, educate children, and participate in local economies. Trusts use funds for seva projects, schools, health camps, environmental initiatives. Thus, every rupee offered for a puja or course indirectly uplifts society. The offering creates prosperity cycles where spirituality and material welfare support each other. In this way, rituals are not isolated acts of devotion but catalysts of social upliftment, sustaining both individuals and the larger community. Now, how does Dakshina prevent misuse of rituals? When rituals are performed without proper structure, they risk becoming casual, manipulated, or misunderstood. By formalizing offerings through trust, Dakshina ensures accountability. Priests are supported transparently, devotees know where their contributions go, and rituals are maintained with dignity. This reduces the chances of exploitation or casual misuse. It protects both priest and devotee, anchoring the practice in sincerity. Dakshina thus acts as a safeguard, preserving the sanctity of Vedic practices and preventing them from being diluted or distorted for selfish purposes. Now, why do people remember teachings more when they pay for them? Human psychology connects value with the investment. When someone pays for a course, they treat it as precious. They revise notes, practice daily, and respect the teacher. In contrast, free knowledge risks being forgotten because no sacrifice was made. Gurudev often says, You only value what you give for. Payment transforms knowledge from casual words into treasured wisdom. It ingrains the learning in the heart and mind, just as a diamond bought is cared for more than a pebble found. Teachings valued through dakshina are remembered deeply. Now, how do offerings reflect a dharmic responsibility? Jagadev Dharma means responsibility towards self, family, community, and tradition. By offering dakshina, devotees uphold their role in sustaining the spiritual ecosystem, just as farmers sustain society with the food and soldiers sustain it with protection. Devotees sustain spirituality with offerings. It is not a burden but a privilege to ensure rituals, peace, and knowledge thrive. In this way, donations become dharmic duties, aligning the devotee with righteousness. This act of responsibility ensures harmony where every member of society contributes to sustaining divine order and sacred traditions. Now, how do offerings create a sense of sacred exchange? Jagadev, every ritual is an exchange of energies. The devotee offers devotion, the priest offers mantras, and the divine showers blessings. Dakshina completes the cycle by grounding the exchange in the material world. It symbolizes that gratitude is not left unexpressed but given form. This sacred exchange prevents imbalance where one only takes but never gives. When devotees offer sincerely, the exchange becomes harmonious. Both priest and devotee walk away fulfilled, one with blessings, the other with dignity and support. Such reciprocity sustains the beauty of spiritual traditions. Now, why are rituals compared to planting seeds? A ritual is like planting a seed in the soil of consciousness, but just as a seed requires water and nourishment, rituals too require offerings to grow. Dakshina acts as the nourishment that makes the rituals' blessings sprout in the devotee's life. Without it, the seed may remain dormant, lacking commitment and care. With offerings, the ritual gains seriousness and energy. Just as a well watered seed grows into a strong tree, this metaphor beautifully shows why donations are essential for rituals to bear fruit. Now, how do offerings connect with the law of karma? Jagadev, karma is the principle of cause and effect. When devotees offer with sincerity, they create positive karmic impressions, seeds of merit that return as blessings in life. Donations given with love and gratitude cleanse past karma and create auspicious futures. Just as harmful actions create bondage, selfless offerings create freedom. The ritual becomes more than an event, it turns into karmic purification. By consciously channeling wealth into sacred acts, devotees ensure that their karma aligns with dharma, leading to prosperity and spiritual growth. Now, why are rituals more powerful when devotees contribute personally? Personal contribution adds personal energy. When devotees arrange flowers, bring ghee, or offer financial support, they infuse a ritual with their sincerity. A ritual performed entirely by others may bless them, but active contribution multiplies the effect. This is why Vedic culture encourages devotees to at least offer something, a fruit, a leaf, or even water. In modern times, money pays that and plays that role. The moment that the devotee invests personally, the ritual carries that their signature energy, making it more powerful and transformative in their life. Now, how do offerings reflect responsibility toward tradition? Yes, our rituals, mantras, and homas have been preserved for thousands of years because generations of devotees took responsibility to support them. Offerings are not just for one's own benefit, but for preserving heritage. When devotees give today, they ensure that priests can train successors, temples remain vibrant, and texts are studied. Without such support, traditions risk being lost. Offerings are thus a pledge to future generations. I will do my part to sustain this sacred lineage. This responsibility ensures continuity of wisdom and grace. Now, why is giving seen as a yajna in itself? Jagadev, yajna means sacrifice for the greater good, while homa involves offering ghee to the fire. Dakshina is offering wealth for the welfare of peace, teachers, and the tradition. Both are yajna's acts of sacrifice. When a devotee donates, they burn a part of their ego, attachment, and greed in the fire of giving. This act itself becomes a spiritual practice independent of the ritual. Thus, even outside the homa, financial offerings are yajna sacrifices that purify the giver and nourish the community. Now, how do the course fees mirror the principle of sankalpa? Paying for a course is a form of sankalpa. It signals, I am committed to this learning and will value it. Just as a devotee declares their intention in a puja, a participant declares theirs through registration and fees. Both set a mental and emotional contract. Without this, Knowledge risks being treated casually with it. Participants become serious, attend fully, and apply the teachings in daily life. Thus, course fees are not mere logistics but a modern expression of the ancient principle of sankalpa. Now, how do offerings prevent priests from exploitation? Without structured dakshina, priests may be forced into dependency, begging or serving without dignity. This can lead to exploitation where their sacred knowledge is undervalued. By having formal donations through trusts, priests are respected and supported fairly. Devotees know their contributions are legitimate and priests can focus solely on rituals. This system prevents misuse on both sides and sustains a healthy balance. In essence, Dakshina dignifies the priest's role, ensuring they are honored as custodians of sacred knowledge rather than exploited for survival. Now, why is money considered energy in this context? Jagadev, money is condensed energy earned through time, effort, and intelligence. When devotees offer money for rituals, they symbolically offer their life energy to the divine. This makes the ritual deeply personal as it carries the energy of their work and sacrifice. Just as flowers carry fragrance, money carries the essence of one's effort. Offering it transforms material energy into spiritual merit. Gurudev often says, when you give with the right intention, money becomes punya. Thus, donations are not loss, but transformation of energy into grace. Now, how do offerings align with the principle of seva? Jagurudev, seva is selfless service, and offerings are seva in material form. By donating for rituals or courses, devotees serve priests, teachers, and the community. Their contribution ensures others also benefit from the rituals. For example, sponsoring a homa blesses not just the sponsor but all attendees. This expands the spirit of seva beyond the self, turning offerings into acts of service for society. In this way, Dakshina is not just a personal devotion, it becomes seva that uplifts the entire community, aligning with the Gurudev's vision. Now, how do offerings foster equality among devotees? In Vedic culture, every devotee can participate in rituals through offerings regardless of caste, gender, or social status. A fruit, a flower, or a coin all are accepted when given with bhakti. Today, through structured dakshina, even a small contribution is valued equally to a large one because it reflects sincerity, not just amount. This inclusivity ensures that rituals belong to all, not just the wealthy. Offerings thus level the ground, allowing everyone to share in grace and spiritual merit equally. Now, why is even a token offering considered powerful? Jayagurudev scriptures say, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Me Bhaktya Prayashchati. A leaf, a flower, a fruit, or even water, when offered with devotion, is accepted by the divine. The value lies in the feeling, not the amount. A token offering, if made sincerely, carries immense power. Priests too are instructed to honor the intent rather than the size of dakshina. This principle encourages every devotee to participate, reminding us that offerings are spiritual connectors, not financial transactions. Now, how do offerings teach detachment? Jagurudev, Dakshina is a practical exercise in letting go. Wealth is often tied to ego and attachment. By offering it in rituals, devotees practice non attachment and generosity. The act trains the mind to value giving over hoarding, shifting focus from mind to thine. Detachment does not mean renouncing wealth, but knowing its rightful use. Through offerings, devotees experience joy in release, learning that true wealth is measured not by accumulation but by the grace that flows when one gives. Now, why are collective offerings encouraged in major rituals? In large homas like Atirudra Homa or Navachandi Homa, costs are significant. Collective offerings allow many devotees to participate and share in the blessings. This creates unity as people from diverse backgrounds pool resources for a common sacred purpose. Collective sankalpa ensures that the merit multiplies. Every participant receives the full grace. Beyond practicality, this practice nurtures community spirit, showing that great spiritual work happens when many hearts and hands join together. Now, how do offerings maintain purity in ritual practice? When priests are properly supported, they can focus on mantras and purity of practice rather than worrying about livelihood. This ensures that rituals are performed with sincerity, not rushed for survival. Financial security allows priests to live dharmic lives free from corruption or shortcuts. Similarly, transparent systems of offerings maintain purity on the devotee's side, preventing commercialization or bargaining. Thus, offerings, when given and received rightly, safeguard the sacredness of rituals across generations. Now, why is gratitude the heart of all offerings? Jai Gurudev, every offering is an expression of thank you to the divine, to the tradition, to the teacher. Gratitude transforms giving into joy. Without gratitude, offerings become mechanical. With gratitude, they glow with life. Priests receive not just money but a heartfelt respect which uplifts them. Devotees too feel lighter knowing they have honored their blessings. In this way, gratitude is the true currency behind every donation. The physical form may be small, but the inner feeling makes it vast and sacred. Now, how do offerings support temple culture? Jagadev, temples are living ecosystem. Priests, musicians, cooks, cleaners all serve daily offerings sustain this entire ecosystem, ensuring that lamps are lit, bells are rung, and annadhanam is served. Without donations, temples risk decline, reducing them to monuments rather than living centers of devotion. Offerings keep them vibrant, filled with music, fragrance, and community gatherings. Thus, each devotee's contribution directly preserves the temple as a space of grace for countless future generations. Now, why are offerings seen as a repayment of rina or debt? The scriptures speak of three debts of Devrina or the debt to gods, Rishi Rina to sages, and Pitru Rina to ancestors. Offerings and rituals repay those debts by supporting priests. Devotees honor the rishis who preserve knowledge. By sustaining rituals, they honor the devas who bestow blessings. By involving families, they honor ancestors who passed on traditions. The zakshana is not random giving, it is a repayment of sacred debts, harmonizing one's life with the cosmic balance and dharma. Now, how do offerings strengthen faith? When devotees see blessings unfold after rituals, their faith deepens not only in the divine but in the system of offerings itself. They realize that what they give returns manifold in subtle and material ways. This experiential proof strengthens trust, making them more joyful and generous in the future. Faith is not blind but built through experience, and offerings provide the practical means for devotees to engage, test, and witness the grace of the tradition. Now, why are offerings considered as sadhana? Jagadev, sadhana is a disciplined practice and giving is also a practice. Each offering requires awareness, humility, and detachment. Over time, this repeated act purifies greed and cultivates generosity. Just as meditation disciplines the mind, offerings discipline the ego. Both refine the heart and deepen bhakti. In fact, in many traditions, dan is counted as a spiritual discipline equal to japa or seva. Hence, dakshina is not just a ritual formality, it is itself a powerful sadhana for inner growth. Now, how do offerings reflect the cycle of abundance? When devotees give, they affirm abundance rather than scarcity. Giving signals trust that life will provide more. This mental shift itself attracts prosperity. Gurudev often says, when you hold tightly, hands are closed. When you give, hands open to receive. Thus, offerings place devotees in the flow of abundance, where resources circulate and multiply. The cycle of abundance is not just economic, it is spiritual, where giving ensures continuous receiving of grace, blessings, and prosperity. Now, why are offerings considered a bridge between worlds? Rituals connect the visible and invisible realms. Offerings act as a bridge. They are physical actions carrying inner devotion into the subtle world. Priests use these offerings to invoke deities, creating a channel for blessings to descend. Without offerings, rituals risk remaining abstract. With them, the bridge is complete. The material world rises upward and the spiritual world flows downward. Thus, offerings are the tangible cords binding earth to heaven in every sacred act. Now, how do offerings inspire humility in priests as well? Like the priests, when receiving dakshina, are reminded that their knowledge is for service, not pride. Offerings received with folded hands remind them that their role is to serve both devotee and divine. This exchange humbles both sides, devotee through giving, priest through receiving respectfully. Thus, offerings balance the relationship, ensuring neither arrogance nor exploitation arises. The system itself is designed to cultivate humility, gratitude, and mutual respect in both priest and devotee. Now, why is offering described as self investment? Offerings are never truly lost, they return as blessings, inner peace, and prosperity. In this sense, they are investments into one's own spiritual growth and karmic balance. Unlike material investments that fluctuate, Spiritual investments yield eternal returns. Devotees may not always see immediate results, but in subtle ways, grace protects and uplifts them. Thus, offerings are best understood not as expenses but as the highest form of self investment into dharma, blessings, and inner fulfillment. Now, how do offerings purify intention? Every time devotees give, they must check their intention. Is it for name, for return, or out of love? This self check purifies motives over time, even if one starts with mixed intentions. The act itself gradually refines the heart. Priests encourage offerings with sincerity, reminding devotees that purity of intent matters more than amount. Thus, offerings act as a mirror reflecting and cleansing the inner self. Over time, they transform giving into a natural, joyous expression of love. Now, why is the act of giving emphasized before receiving prasad? Traditionally, devotees offer something before receiving prasad. This reminds them that divine blessings flow when there is exchange, not mere consumption. It prevents passivity and cultivates active participation. Symbolically, it teaches that before receiving sweetness or prasad, one must express gratitude or dakshina. This simple order of actions preserves dignity in receiving and ensures that spiritual nourishment is always coupled with humility and giving. Now, how do offerings sustain large scale programs? In modern times, spiritual organizations like the Art of Living conduct master programs, global homas, yoga camps, seva projects. These require logistics, travel, and material. Offerings and course fees sustain these large efforts. Without them, scale would be impossible. Devotees' contributions ensure that Gurudev's vision reaches millions worldwide. Each donation, small or large, becomes part of a collective energy powering these movements. In this way, offerings are not just personal, they ripple outward, sustaining global spiritual work. Now, why are offerings called Annadana in spirit? Yes, even when money is given, its ultimate use often supports food, feeding priests, maintaining temples, or serving the poor. Thus, offerings are spiritually equivalent to Annadan, the highest form of charity. By sustaining those who sustain Dharma, devotees indirectly feed countless people. This expands the merit beyond ritual to practical seva. Therefore, scriptures equate offerings with Annadana in spirit, acknowledging the deep impact they create in both sacred and social spheres. Now, how do offerings ensure continuity of mantras? The mantras are preserved when priests dedicate their lives to practice. Offerings support their training, education, and livelihood, allowing them to focus entirely on learning and chanting. Without financial support, younger generations may abandon priesthood, risking loss of mantras. Thus, each offering contributes directly to the survival of Vedic sound vibrations in the world. Devotees who give are not only supporting individuals but safeguarding the timeless treasury of a sacred sound of humanity. Now, what is the ultimate vision behind offerings? The ultimate vision is harmony between devotee and divine priest and community, tradition and future. Offerings ensure that rituals remain alive, teachers are respected, temples flourish, and seekers grow. They align material wealth with spiritual growth, transforming money into merit, ego into humility, and society into a supportive ecosystem. Ultimately, offerings teach us that true wealth lies not in possession, but in participation in giving to sustain dharma. We receive grace that sustains life itself. Jai Gurudev.